Okay, we're recording.
Okay.
Hi.
Well, we got off to kind of a funny start
Yes, we did.
because you assumed that I had brokered this arrangement, and I assumed that you brokered this arrangement. So we both showed up wondering who talked to her. And by
So,
her,
yeah, by her, we mean Avery's mom. And for people that don't know, Avery's mother raised Avery by herself, and which is highly unheard of in the Sarsahr culture. They usually are married first and then they have children and things like that. It's just how they are. They're very old-fashioned. Well, what we consider old-fashioned.
right?
But we'll let her explain a little further her story. But at first, what's funny is because, the Sarsahr aren't like spirit. They don't automatically know what we're doing or what we're planning just because we decided it. And they have their own schedule too. They have to sleep, they have to eat,
Right.
they have jobs to do. So when we want to do a video with one of them, we have to plan ahead with them. Like, when will it work for you? What day? It's kind of silly, but they're alive, they're physical, and they're not like spirit.
Right.
So
Can't just summons them. I'm ready right now. Let's
ready.
go.
Let's do it. So we didn't know that. I don't know. I assumed you talked to Avery's mom and was like, hey, we're going to do this video. Is it okay with you? Because first you got to ask their permission. Like, would they even want to be on the video?
Right.
In the first place.
When you posted that post, you got any questions? I'm like, oh, she's already handled it. Because I'm still in a place sometimes, and I know better. I absolutely know better. So it's not like I didn't feel worthy. It just didn't even occur to me that this was my job because it's my mama-in-law. It just didn't even occur to me because that's always.
I should have, and I had a feeling like maybe I should let Kari know that I'm excited.
I might have been, no, you do it. I'm too scared. I wouldn't have. You should have seen me trying to figure out what to wear. I put on something that I might be able to get away with at church.
I put on something nice for her too today. Oh, you look very pretty.
Yes.
You look very pretty. Do you like my deers? They're deers.
Yeah, I do, dear. That is really cute. I like unusual patterns like that. I like that. You're cute.
Thank you. I know. Okay, so Avery's laughed. We're making him laugh. Okay, he has Star Ferry with him.
Ooh, my baby.
Anyway, so she's shy. But what helped her to come on to Stardust was she was afraid people were going to judge her, other humans. Because I think, unless I'm wrong, she's used to people judging her for her,
life choice.
Her choices, her life choice. Because in the Sarsahr culture, it's really not common at all. And it's very, kind of like the Sarsahr view it as...
is it scandalous?
Yeah, scandalous. Because this is probably like the first time they ever heard of this. Something like this, like the first time ever, maybe. I don't know. But Avery's like, probably not ever, but it's, we don't have documented history of when it happens either, so they don't know. It's just that rare that this is probably like the only time they'll ever see this.
Well, we're going to build her up and give her big props for being, an outlier and falling outside of the box and showing others that it's okay. I think it's okay.
It is okay.
That came out of it. Yeah.
Yes. She's, what helped her on the show was that there's people in the group that are also single mothers that were calling her brave and all that.
I kind of glanced at some of the comments. Let me start with, well, there were questions, but I want to start with that first comment from our friend Pauline. And I haven't even, I don't feel like I've properly met Space Mama yet, but Pauline says that others may not associate with you in your own culture. She says that is their loss and you stay strong, and being different is what makes you special. I thought that was very sweet words of encouragement.
Yes. She's saying thank you. She's very quiet and humble, so she's not all like bubbly and giddy and all that.
Uh-oh, how does she do with me then?
So she does just fine.
Hi, Space Mama.
She's talking about how, because most Sarsahr women are very giggly, bubbly, just free-spirited type people. usually. But she's saying that because the women are so well protected, but it's almost like the bullying that she faced made her somewhat bitter. Not bitter, I wouldn't say. That was a little harsh of a word. I have to be careful with my choice of words with them. Sometimes I forget. They're so easily offended. Kind of reminds us in our culture right now, everyone's so easily offended. That wasn't a bad thing. I think I made her upset, but not bitter, but she's not as free-spirited.
Well, she's reserved because she's guarding her heart.
And she's grounded, I would say more grounded in her heart space.
Okay.
It's not a bad thing. She's like, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah. So I want to ask her just questions like get to know her for a minute, okay?
Okay.
Okay. I feel like I'm going to talk directly to her. I feel like I'm meeting you for the first time. So it's nice to meet you as this version of me.
She finds it a little silly. She's like, I've met you numerous times, but it's nice to meet you too.
Well, tell me a little bit about our relationship then. What do you think of me?
She's the first thing, I'm mostly going off energy, so I'm not hearing word for word.
Okay.
Avery will step in when I'm having a hard time.
Okay.
Understanding. She's saying that she knows first off that you're good for her son. It's the energy of what she's telling me. And then she appreciates everything you've done for her family. So she's saying you may not, it's almost like you don't see it that way, that she's saying that you may not see it that way. But it's more along the lines of her son, but by proxy, her grandchild as well, because you're the reason why the grandchild's there in the first place. So our family's small, but you're helping it to grow bigger. Because it was just her and Avery for so long. So that's a very tiny family. It's just two people. So it's become bigger.
I want to hear her.
What's important to her is family.
I want to hear you take a minute to gush about Star Ferry.
How much do you love your grandchild? She didn't know what you mean by gush. Like how much you love Star Ferry.
Your heart explodes.
She took that literally. She says, no, my heart doesn't explode. But she loves babies. She loves having a new baby around. It's like, you know, that new energy that comes from a baby. She likes that feeling in the air. She says Avery still lives with her. It's more like she lives with Avery. So it's not like Avery's, you know, hasn't moved out of the house. It's just, he's very close to his mom. And, you know, and everything is about family. They're a very tight-knit family, very tight. Sweet. The feeling I get. Whereas in our culture, if a man still lived with their mom, it was like, oh, that's lame kind of thing. But unless he's taking care of her, because, you know, she's too fragile. But she doesn't need help taking care of. Although Avery likes to take care of her now that he's old enough. It's like he's not her husband, but like takes care of her in a way that it, you know, provides for her.
Yes, that's how that's kind of, okay. That's how I feel about my home life, is that, you know, my lovey is like, he takes care of me in that way, you know.
Yeah. And she didn't like that you mentioned him.
I know, sorry.
It's completely different. No, she's not mad because you're with another man. I think she just doesn't understand that whole dynamic or anything. I don't know.
It's very confusing. It's such an unconventional situation. It really is.
She says she wishes you could just be with her son only, but she says, I have nowhere to judge. It's like she's not judging you.
She just wishes it could be something different.
Yeah.
Oh.
But she understands. She gets it. It's almost like she's saying, like, you do your thing, girl. You do you. Because she said now she's going into her life. She's saying that I was on my own. I had to do my thing, my way. And I've always been unconventional when I was growing up. And I believe that some of my personality went on to my son. And that growing up, I had a hard time connecting with the other men, the other Sarsahr men. they weren't enough for me. I wanted a man who would bring me new adventure. I wanted something adventurous. I wanted someone almost like a mystery, like those. Never mind, you don't read novels. You wouldn't get the kind of like character trope I'm talking about. But she didn't understand a word I just said. It's okay. Go on to what you were saying. So she said she's just wanted an adventurous man. And she wasn't finding that with the Sarsahr men because most of them are very, although they each have their own personality,
Mm-hmm.
they all pretty much stick to the old ways. She's saying they're not old, they're just the ways.
Uh-huh.
And I wanted something different. I wanted a man who would, usually families stay in one place. I wanted to travel. I wanted to go to different places, even with kids. I didn't want to stay put. It makes her antsy. She doesn't like it. She's like, now that I'm older, I don't mind staying at one place. But when I was younger, I just a wild spirit. She said, I'm not a free spirit. I'm a wild one. And so her mother, she's talking about her mother.
Yeah.
Her mother always pushed on me to calm down. Like she wanted me to settle down. And it never worked. And there was this part of me that was just rebellious. I didn't want to follow those rules. And I moved out on my own. Most women get married at a very young age. So I'm thinking like human years would be like 16 or something, would be around the equivalent age for them. She's like, that's very true. They get married very young and to men far older than them. Because usually the men aren't ready to get married until they're in their 30s. In human equivalency.
Okay.
Very rare if someone's young that's ready. And she's saying that's not a bad thing. I know in your culture it would be bad, someone way older than you, but for us that's just the norm. That's how it is because your maturity levels are different. We go by maturity level, not the age.
Uh-huh.
So a girl at 16, you know, like if we think about it with humans, most girls at 16 are
they're
actually
not ready either.
Well,
they're more mature than a man at 16. That's for damn sure.
Yes.
I mean, I have twins. I have boy-girl twins, and I absolutely see the difference in maturity.
It's just totally different maturity levels, and that's what they do. So when a young woman decides she's ready to marry, she's ready to marry. You know, it's not like in our culture where we're like, you don't know what you want kind of thing, because they're raised differently, entirely differently. They're raised to know what they want, and it's okay to want what you want. There's no real confusion there. Plus, they're just different how they operate in their head, so you can't compare sometimes. Anyway, that was off topic. Sorry.
That's okay. Well, continue with your story.
So you moved out. Sorry, I go off. She says it's okay. It's kind of cute. Because I want to teach about the Sarsahr too, to kind of explain at the same time. Okay, so you moved out. What happened? Oh, okay. What were you doing? First off, she's saying this. I moved into a co-ed type of situation where it was men in the same room as some of the women. And my mom hated that. She hated it. It was so unconventional. And the fact that we even had that was unconventional in the first place. But it wasn't like we're in the same room. It was just this wall that separated us, but there was a door that you can go in and out of. So it was like two separate rooms. But I would always be on the boy side.
She's my kind of girl.
She's saying, that's why I like you, because I understand. But she's saying that, so a bit of my wild side went on to my son. My son is the exact same way.
Sure is, huh?
It wasn't that I was sleeping with them, but I love to flirt and I like to play. And playing in a youthful, innocent way is what she's saying. But I just like to flirt. And it wouldn't mean like she wouldn't be really serious. Sometimes it would lead to more than that with somebody, but she would stop it because she's like, no, I don't want marriage. I don't want any of that. What did you do for work though? Because it sounds like she moved for work. Were you on Earth? No, she left the planet. She was on a ship, and she was part of like a maintenance crew. It was like a cleaning maintenance crew. She said, I just took whatever job was open that would get me away from
Oh, wow. Where were you born? On Earth?
Yes.
Okay.
So you're doing this job. Have you ever transferred to any other jobs? She said, I moved up in the ranks within that same department, but it was typically the same thing. I was scrubbing the toilets, this toilet
The menial
scrubber,
stuff, yep.
the laundry girl, she's like, I'd fold things, I'd put things away, I'd clean. And it's a very important job. If there's no one to do it, things fall apart. She said, so my job was very crucial. All the jobs are crucial. Everybody needs a position to fill. When did you meet Avery's father?
Yeah, I want to hear this story.
Oh, she's getting all, Avery doesn't like it, but she's getting all giggly and like, blushed. Do you still talk to him? No. She's like, thank God, no. But I have fond memories of him. Aww. In our younger years. She's showing me an image. Well, she's not showing it. She's thinking of it. Since I'm tapped into her energy, I can see what she's thinking.
Okay.
It's like a ship. It was a huge ship. And it was like a loading dock, and they went on to it. We needed to transfer some supplies to them. She's saying that we all transfer supplies to one another, all different species. There's different things that we get from different planets, and it's just easier to have a trading route rather than have the species go all the way to that planet we were just on to grab the same materials we already had. And so she's saying that's when I came across him. He was very flirtatious with me at first. Avery looked so much like his father. He was very tall. And what was nice was that he was very muscular at the same time. Because the Pleaidian men have more muscle build than the Sarsahr men. And I liked Avery. That.
I hear Avery's quite the looker. Can't wait to see him with his eyeballs.
She's saying, and we kicked it off right away. And I would spend, she said, it's not like she had to sneak off, but at night she would run off to go find him, and they would talk for hours. And then it led to more than talking. She says, you know how it goes. It leads more into that. You start holding hands, and then, anyway, so she's getting shy.
Now we're getting to the moment. We can skip that part if you want.
Skip it. She's like, no, it's important.
Okay.
She said, but I was in love for the first time in my life. I would flirt with a lot of guys, but it wasn't like she was serious. It was the first time she actually fell in love, and she found herself actually wanted to marry somebody. And he was a man who was never in one place for very long, and I loved that. He was perfect for me. But he had other ideas in mind. She said, I have to admit, I was insecure. She said, looking back, now that I'm older, I see a lot of my actions were just me being really insecure. And I didn't know that that's what I had, that insecurity, because I never really stayed at home long enough. I left home a lot younger than most leave home because I wanted to get away from what my parents were trying to teach me. They were just trying to help me, but I saw it as them trying to control me.
Right.
So I never really got those last lessons I needed to learn, which was my own self-worth, And she said, so I found myself bending to his will, what he wanted, and not really thinking about what it was I really wanted. So it doesn't sound like he was abusive or anything. She's like, no, absolutely not.
She just lost herself.
Right.
In him, yeah.
And she said, I convinced myself he was somebody who would never settle down. He had multiple partners, and they all knew about each other. He never spent in the same room with them. But since he traveled, he had different partners in different places. He also had kids with these other people. And I tried to convince myself that I was okay with that, even though I wasn't. I tried to convince myself for years, this lasted for a while, that I was okay with being one of many instead of just being the one and only. And that I was okay with not being married, that we're married in our hearts instead. That's what I told myself. And I had no idea that this is what my mother was trying to teach me before I left home, that you need to feel good about yourself first before you find someone else, or else you're going to be bending your will to another man, to someone else, and not being true to who you are. And she said it took a minute, but it wasn't until I was pregnant that I finally realized this is not what I wanted. I wanted my baby, most importantly. But what I didn't want was my child to grow up in that dynamic, thinking that's okay, because it's not okay. And or thinking that it's okay, not really what the man was doing, but she's like a little bit what he was doing, but mostly that it was okay to change who you are so you can force yourself to fit to someone else that you find
I
cute.
understand. Yeah.
She's like, because that's not love. That's just affection, strong infatuation. There we go. That's not love. If you have to change who you are for someone. She's like, yes. And I didn't know the difference. I didn't stick at home long enough to learn that difference. I just ran away. I was very stubborn. I was bullheaded. And my son is bullheaded like I am too, but it's almost like she had to be very stern and firm with him. You know what it reminds me of? Malcolm in the Middle? That mom is all strict, crazy. It kind of reminds me of like the energy she's kind of giving off. I mean, she's not that bad to her, that degree, but like she had to rule with an iron fist with Avery.
Yeah, sometimes you got to put on your mean mommy voice just to get your point across, whether you feel it or not.
She found that cute. You said that. She's like, I felt I was mostly mean mommy voice.
Gosh, her story sounds a little bit like mine, doesn't it? It's like, deciding I'm not okay with being treated a certain way. I had to find my space. Oh, I wonder if do we talk about this stuff ever?
We did once, and you cried even then. So they're crying now. But she said, I didn't go in as much detail. I just brushed over it. We didn't have much time, and Avery wanted his time with you, and I understand that. But I'm proud of my son, she's saying, for learning beyond what I've experienced, taking from what I've learned so that he can better his life for the future generations of our family.
Yes.
She's saying a tragic but beautiful mistake, because I got a son out of it.
She found a beautiful silver lining.
Yeah. She said, if it weren't for my son, I think I would have stayed, and I think I would have been so unhappy, I probably would have died slowly. They're so sensitive, kind of thing. She said, my body probably would have slowly wilted away, just because of unhappy I was.
How are you able to pull away from him? Because, you do have that kind of, that Sarsahr part.
She said that was hard. It's hard. It was hard because I figured, I kept telling myself, we're not married, we're not bonded, so it wouldn't physically hurt me in any way. By physically hurting, like ripping of my soul out. And she's saying that, and besides, it's all symbolic anyway. That's what she says. It's all symbolic. But your beliefs can be powerful and can actually make you feel physically sometimes.
Yes.
And she says that it took a lot of willpower. And I eventually just had to not think about it. I just had to tell myself, you're just packing your clothes. That's all you're doing. You're just packing your clothes, Wow. That's all you're doing is walking outside. That's all you're doing. It's like she just couldn't think beyond what the goal.
Second. Wow. Yeah. That's pretty radical.
She couldn't think. She just had to do it. She just rip it off like a Band-Aid. And it wasn't until that she was far enough away, back on Earth, she said, that she could finally think about the decision she just made, And she came home and she was like, I've seen human movies. That's so funny. Where the daughter runs away and ends up coming home pregnant to the mom. That's what I felt like. I came home to my parents and I was like, surprise, I'm here. I'm pregnant.
How did that go? So scared for you.
My mom, she nearly, like, it's almost like she fainted, almost like nearly. My dad wouldn't talk to me. And they kept it hush hush. They kept me in the room. They kept me in the house. They wouldn't let her. they were so embarrassed. And she said that was really hard, was knowing that my family was embarrassed by my actions. You know, it didn't feel like they loved me unconditionally. Even though I know they did, it was just that society, our society, as advanced as we are, there's some things that draw us back a little bit. And this is one of the biggest things, is our culture, our rules that we made up.
Yes. My aunt actually had that same experience. She got pregnant as a teenager, and her parents, my grandparents, sent her to go live with his grandpa's sister until she had the baby, and gave it up for adoption, and then she could come back and live as a normal teenager without, and nobody knew. That's so sad. They couldn't be there to support their daughter. They ship her off.
She's like, if my parents had it their way and they could safely send me to another family member far away, they probably would have. But I don't blame them, she's saying, because now that I'm a parent, I was just thinking of how can I help my daughter not be embarrassed. She would be shamed.
Yes.
And that was what they thought was best for me. But so what happened? Eventually people found out. She's like, yes. How did that come about? She said, I just left the house and I had to carry him. Did you put him in the incubator? No, she had to give birth.
Ooh.
And she said that's very rare. I didn't even, it's very rare that we get pregnant. It wasn't like I was trying to have a baby with.
I didn't even think of that. I mean, you don't have to be so cautious if it's that challenging.
Right. She says, exactly. Very rarely. She's like, everything I've done has always been out of the norm. Never happened.
So glad I've cooked my stars onto your family.
So she says, I did have a happy incident, she says. And she said, I had to give birth and I was scared too. And so I thought, you know, I might die. A lot of them do. That's why we do the incubator.
Gosh.
That's a higher probability of death. And it was almost like part of her was wanting to like not be in hiding anymore, you know, kind of like fuck this kind of thing. But also another part of her was thinking, if I'm gonna die anyway, I might die, so whatever, you know. But she said giving birth was one of the hardest things. It hurts.
It does.
Our pregnancies are much different than yours. She said, I'm not saying that it hurts any less. I'm sure it hurts just as much. You know, she says, I've seen plenty of human movies. I've seen it.
You've heard the screaming.
She's saying, but for us, it's different. Did you push her out? Push him out. Sorry. Did you push Avery out? No. So it was a typical Sarsahr pregnancy. She's like, no, untypical, just because I was giving birth, but typical.
I don't remember how they do it, because that doesn't come out of their vagina, does it? I don't remember. Isn't it like out the side? I don't remember.
It's like a growth. So their belly, it detaches from the outside, kind of like they used to lay eggs back in the like way early in their evolution, but it's changed to they carry it to full term, but then it kind of like the womb grows on the outside.
Okay, so just
but there's this thin layer of skin or whatever over it, but you can kind of see that somebody's carrying and there's something inside of it. But it's like when it rips off, it's like feels like something's been like a limb being ripped off of you.
Ooh.
It hurts.
Ooh.
So do you push out the baby in any way? Do you ever? No, you don't push out anything.
Like doctors just like take it off?
Should I amputate the thing off? I was wanting them to just chop it off, but it would she said break the baby, but they'd die probably. Right. You have to let it happen naturally. And that's when a lot of us die, is because the process can be really long.
Wow.
And strenuous, and our bodies are so fragile. We just can't take it.
Gosh, you're like a superhero then. Wow.
So she says, thank you. But I was determined to live so I can help my son.
What kind of baby was he?
So if it was early on enough in the pregnancy, could you have gotten help from them and get it into an incubator in time? No. Why not? I think it's because they didn't have the little bubble. I call it the bubble. They didn't
I
have it
call it
put
the
in.
pod, the egg
Because if
pod.
if they were to just take it out, that would have been like an abortion. There's no protection around it for it over. Just as right. It was too late because the conception happened without that bubble there.
Ah, okay. All right. Because it was unplanned.
Right. But she said, after I gave birth, some of that respect was restored back to me because I survived something that was so, we just don't give birth like that anymore because it's
Yeah.
not good for us. We're just waiting for evolution to take its time and for us to change the way we birth. Maybe it'll be a little healthier, a little better.
Uh-huh.
But the evolution takes time and it's nowhere close. Think about changing. She's saying that's why some of the hybrids we have are good because they're changing the way we're going to have kids. And
Yeah.
I know with humans, it's just a lot better for you. Not any less painful, but a lot better.
We got really good drugs over here.
She's laughing. She's like, I wish I would have had that. Anyway, because they're so new to that whole concept, I thought, like, did he give you any kind of pain medication? Okay, yes. Okay, good. You had something. But it wasn't strong enough, she said, not nearly strong enough. It never is, she says.
Right. So you lived with your parents and baby Avery then? What do you call him? Is there a translation for it? What do you think of the name I gave? I got too many questions.
She said probably the equivalent to their language would be like lucky son or something, the lucky one or whatever.
Aww.
But so you lived with your parents? Yes. The first half of Avery's like child years, she lived with them, and then she said it was my parents had eventually. Were they dead when you moved out? No. She said I just thought it was time to leave. I was ready to do it on my own. I didn't need help. It was mostly during his younger years that I really needed the help.
Mm-hmm.
Babies are hard. So I, after he was able to walk and talk, I was ready to go on my own. And my parents, they loved Avery, and I never had a bad relationship with my parents, mostly my mother. She's saying, but it was more like she just wanted to help me, and I wasn't willing to receive her help. Even after I had a kid, she was still trying to push for me to get married, but no man would touch me at that point. No Sarsahr man would come near me, which was just fine. They wouldn't be good enough for me anyway. That's so funny. She's telling me she went on. Did you travel with Avery? I did. So I took him. It was the life I wanted to live, but now I didn't have a man by my side. That was just fine.
And your little man.
So I had a different kind of man at my side. The best one.
Yes.
She said I traveled for work. I took him with me everywhere. So we had a lot of fun, running around on the ship, meeting new people. He was very sociable. I think that's where he got a lot of his outgoingness was because he was exposed to so many people. I think that's where she's saying he developed his beauty for other beings, like how he finds them so beautiful.
Oh, his appreciation of beauty.
Yeah.
So
it's almost like they traveled like literally the whole world, the whole universe together.
The whole universe.
Not the whole universe, but
how cool is that?
Within the galaxy, I guess. She said, no, we've never been outside the universe. But you get it.
It's the same to us, galaxy, universe.
Whatever. It's just as big of a concept.
We haven't even left our atmosphere, so that's a big deal.
She finds it funny. I've left the atmosphere.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Affected.
I probably have too in that case, but no memories.
She said, that's my life. And now I have a grandchild and I couldn't be happier.
So the three of you live together then?
Yes.
I'm so glad to hear that because From what I understand, he is not very good at letting other people help him take care of that baby.
She's saying, I know, but it's like she's like, just suck it up. I'm taking the baby, kind of thing.
Good. Is she a brat? Do you think Starfairy's a little crying brat?
She's like, now that you mention it, she has a bit of a headache.
Let me share real quick that little story that happened the other day. I just watched the video again this morning, but I had a reading with Heather, and I was talking to Avery, and Heather's translating what Avery says, and we're talking about Starfairy, and she shares a higher self with my girl Layla. So I'm talking about how, what a brat and that Layla was when she was a baby. So I'm giving Avery pointers, but it's so funny because at the same time, we both said that she starts crying at the witching hour. Those words fell out at the exact same time. And the time is the same too, even with, the time zone difference into consideration. It was so funny and then he's like, I got a whopper bottom. And that's exactly what I had to do to Layla to get that little rhythm going. So I loved hearing those stories. And I thought it was so funny of that little sinky part about the witching hour.
She's saying it's odd that she does that, but she's calmed down a little bit more.
She's getting out of her system so she can be a peaceful teenager.
Avery thinks that she just doesn't like being here on Earth at first, like she's getting assimilated to it. She's not liking it.
maybe she's got to go, travel the universes like Daddy and Grandma did.
Just Grandma's saying, I've lived a full life. So no regrets.
I'm going to ask them questions from our Stardusters.
Okay.
Oh, wait, before I do that though, what would be a translation of your name?
There's something about a flower, but she's like a wildflower or something like that.
Perfect. How cool is that? I love her. Okay.
Free high-spirited flower, something like that, something like equivalent.
Okay, this question's actually for Avery, but I'll let Mama Wildflower weigh in if she wants to, or Avery can answer.
She loves that. She's like, ooh, I love that.
Mama Wildflower, I do too. So, okay, I'm going to paraphrase. How do you think that Avery's doing well, I know I exist, but for all intents and purposes, he's a bit of a single father. So what do you think of?
Doing wonderfully. She's very proud of him. Thinks he's doing perfectly well. Thinks that he's too hard on himself. And he has high expectations of himself, which stresses him out. So he's stressing himself out, which she finds kind of adorable because she was the same way. So she gets that he has to go through it.
Yeah, it's true. Avery, how do you think you're doing? Is that too hard to switch over to him or no? Okay.
How do you think you're doing, Avery? He's like, all right.
Oh, shucks.
Like, all right. I'm doing all right.
Okay. I think we got all of those questions answered.
I think I keep seeing him smacking, the bottom of the diaper.
Cup your hand. Whopper. Okay. And this question was answered too about how you met Avery's daddy. And let's see. And we talked about the position. I think we got them all. Okay, here's a good one. I want to hear this one too. What is a funniest moment you can remember about Avery when he was a little guy? Or anytime.
She's giggling. She's like, there's many of them.
That's why I said pick a favorite, because there's got to be a few.
She said this was a common occurrence. I'll pick something that, was something he usually did.
Okay.
That's kind of cute. All I'm seeing is him as a little kid. I guess he had really wavy, curly hair, which was different. I think he was part Pleaidian. I'm seeing him running around like the ship. And then every time he would meet a new species, like a new person, she said he would always make this sound. And like a word, it was a made up little kid word. It looks like he's like a toddler running around. And he would say something like, "Appa," or something like that. I don't know, like a weird word. Like he was greeting them in that same language. I don't know.
His made up language.
Yeah. Yeah, she said, I don't know what he was doing. He was just, every time he would meet someone new, he would say that same sound, that same word, made up word, didn't mean anything. He was just with his arms out, big smile, saying like "apa" or something like that. I don't know, but
Avery, do you remember when you used to say that to the new people you met?
he says, "I do. All I remember was being really excited, and I didn't know how to say words yet. So I was just said whatever I was feeling, and it was just a sound like ah."
Oh, that's cute. That's cute. Okay, and somebody wanted to
He
know
would do
about
it to bugs too,
bugs.
like new insects. You could see.
Snails and puppy dog tails. He's a boy.
Yeah, he would like bend down, look at him like I see this cute little image of him, this little kid. He would bend down, look at him, and say "Papa" or something like that, and like so he would greet new things.
How cute, you little cutie. Okay, well, I understand that you guys don't celebrate birthdays, but do you have like a celebration of sorts, like something that's regular annually or something? I don't know.
Nothing, no.
Nah. Okay.
Every day of life is a celebration, she said.
Aw. What about did you ever, I think this is the right one. Did you ever like have like a special, or did Avery ever request a special meal? Does he have a favorite that he likes his mama to cook?
Oh yes, he still requests it.
What is it?
Okay, hold on. Sorry. Sorry, could you show me the image again? Because I didn't like it.
Sure, again.
Okay, I don't know what it is.
Okay, what does it look like then?
In English, because it's just in their language. It's just their food. It looks like a block, like a straight block, and it's smothered in this peach-colored sauce on a plate. It looks like tofu covered in like pink sauce. So it's gross.
Let's pretend like it's cheesecake. That will make it taste good to us.
No. Is it warm or cold? Warm. You warm it up in the microwave.
Did you ever feed me? Did you cook for me ever?
No, I haven't. Maybe I might. I'll have to have you try Avery's favorite meal if you're able to eat it. She's looking at Avery for confirmation. Says that no.
I'll taste it and spit it right out.
It's made from their fungi from their home
mushrooms.
Planet. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, is it the mushroom pudding?
No.
Like? Oh, okay.
No. It would cause you to hallucinate really badly, so you can't.
Perfect. Serve me a double.
Says no, I don't want my wife hallucinating like that. It may kill you. It may be poisonous to you. So
right. It's okay. My experimenting with drugs days is probably over. Probably. I didn't say they are.
It's so gross.
Somebody wants to know how you came up with the name Star Ferry. I don't know which you they mean, but I came up with that name, and that's because when I was pregnant, my kids watched the Teen Titans, and there's that character named Starfire, and I totally identified with her because she's really super sparkly and shiny and has like such a great attitude, and she has pink hair. So I just tweaked it a little bit and turned it to Star Ferry instead of Starfire. So that's where that came from. But I am curious does she have a Sarsahr name yet? I know they kind of name themselves, or do they? Or
we just call her that. I'll call her like it's some kind of endearment in their language. It's in their language. I can't pronounce it, but it would be kind of like a cute pet name a grandparent would give their grandchild, like, dearest one or dearest grandchild, something like that. Okay. That's usually what we stick to until they're old enough to develop their own name for themselves.
Okay. And what is she eating these days? She is still like on formula or something?
Most of the time, but she's transitioning into more solids. By solids, we mean mushy.
Mushroom pudding.
She's like, sometimes she really likes it. She likes to play with her food. She'll throw it across the room too, especially when she's done.
Cause and effect. Let's see what happens. We train the adults to clean up after me. Right.
She's laughing at that. She said one time, it looks like she's saying one time she threw it right back at her. because she's been teaching her to not throw food, you know? And so she hit it right at her face. Star Ferry hit it right at, aimed pretty well, I would say, for a baby. Just throwing. So the grandma picked it off of her face and right back. And she said she hasn't thrown it since. She doesn't.
Oh, there you go.
But she'll just throw it on the floor. Like she's saying she'll make eye contact. She'll look at you, pick up the food, and then just drop it on the ground just to see what you look like, your reaction. Like she's smart, she's saying.
Wow. So do you see like characteristics in her of, I don't even know if this is like a thing, but I'm going to ask, like human versus Sarsahr versus Pleaidian, or does she just seem like a baby?
She just seems like a baby. I wouldn't know how to compare it because I've never raised either one of those, so I don't know. I've been around more Sarsahr children. She's very similar in that, in the way they play, and the way and I think that's the same with every baby, with how like young and innocent they are. But the challenging of authority is new. Like that's not really something Sarsahr babies do, where they just disobey like continuously, no matter what you do. I don't know if that's Pleaidian or human.
It's pretty human. It may be Pleaidian too, but
she said, but the whole, making eye contact and like knowing she's not supposed to throw anything off the high chair.
Right.
She makes eye contact with you as she does it.
Watch like this. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah. She'd say, I've never seen that. So.
And what do you feel about that? I mean, you like want to pretend to be mad, but it's funny. You got to like smile behind your mat.
Yeah. She says it's adorable, but I know at the same time, just because she's small and cute doesn't make it okay. Because if she gets older, she's no longer going to be small and cute, and she's still going to do it. And she's going to think, well, it was fine all those years before. Why is it
come on, Grandma. What's your problem?
She'll say, well, because you're not cute anymore. So.
Oh, thank you for sharing some stories about my baby. It's so odd to know that I have one. It's so odd. Is it odd to you that this version you're talking to right now doesn't have any recollection of any of this? Is that weird to you?
She says she finds it odd you're saying this version of yourself because it's all the same person.
I know, but you know what I mean. It's a different version of consciousness, maybe. I don't know.
No, the same consciousness.
Well, what
about? I get it though. I get it. You just don't remember it.
So what do I show up like? Am I like in pajamas?
Yeah.
I brushed my hair and get yesterday's mascara off. Well, I want to go back just a little bit to your story because it's so interesting and so progressive and brave. Do you feel like that enough time or awareness, or what kind of, do you feel like you've made an impact in the perceptions of other people in your community?
No.
Oh, really?
Not even a little bit. They're very stuck in their ways. They're not bad ways. They respect family, and it's not like people are forced to stay in those confines because I surely didn't.
Mm-hmm.
We're always taught to follow our hearts and where they lead us. It's just most of them, their heart wants what is within the collective.
Yes.
Every once in a while, there's outliers, and I'm far happier following my heart and being an outlier than if I were to force myself into something that I just didn't resonate with.
I bet that's what I love most about you. I love that.
She says, I love you too. So she's like, I know you don't have good relationships with your mother-in-laws.
Are you like a mama to me a little bit, or are we like friends? What is it like?
She said, sure, I'll be your mama. I always just thought of you as daughter-in-law.
I need a mama. I'm going to share Avery's mama.
Avery's okay with it. He's like, sure. I'll allow it.
Thank you. Oh, okay. Well, I'm not sure what else to ask. We went through the questions, but I don't know. I'm feeling like I have a a lot of respect for the way you are that outlier and you did follow your heart. And even though it's not the norm for the rest of them, maybe somewhere you did serve as an inspiration to somebody. Not that that's your goal, but it's always nice to know that you're appreciated for your
She said
choices in
I
life.
served as an inspiration to my son, and that's enough.
That is enough. And you really did. Your story made it okay for him to have his story with me, because it's pretty unconventional too.
She says, yeah, I know. I'm very proud of him.
Mm.
Mm. Is there anything, would you say that you wish your people would change their old ways? She says, no, because I would mean changing it to how I think, and not everyone's going to agree with me. And then you're going to have the same problem, just the opposite way.
Yeah.
I think people should feel free to live how they want to live, which we have that right. We're free people. I can choose what I want, but every decision you make has a consequence. And not always are people going to agree with you. But when I say I was bullied, it wasn't like they were calling me names or I felt disenfranchised. I don't know. I don't think you're using that right, but felt like segregated.
Uh-huh.
She didn't feel left out of everything. She said, our form of bullying is just because we can feel thoughts.
Oh.
And
Man.
we can feel the stares. It was nothing really spoken. It was unspoken. That's what I mean by bullied.
Okay.
So it wasn't like I wasn't allowed to eat where everyone else was eating or anything. I had my friends, and so I wasn't alone. I had friends who understood.
Okay.
So it wasn't as bad. It's not like with humans and their bullying. It's very severe.
Yeah. Okay.
But for us, even our form, which is very light compared to yours, is severe to us because they are just that sensitive.
Yeah. So I was going to say well, what's your life like now as far as, I'm going to, sorry, being accepted?
She says, actually, I was still the talk of the town because this is such a rarity. People, I was like, almost like the energy of it's kind of like that weird lady that in the village or something that like does like magic cards or whatever. I don't know. Like,
it's like the crazy cat lady shaman witch doctor.
Yeah. Right. She doesn't understand what we're saying, but you guys will get it. The humans will understand the comparison we're making. She says it wasn't until she said I came along and I shook things up, and now
took the focus off her.
Yeah, she's like, so thank you for that. And now no one cares. No one's looking at me anymore. Everyone's looking at all the humans coming. They're focused on that now. They've changed their focus. The older generation, she said, like my age and older, they still focus on me sometimes just because I was, the talk of the town during their time when they were younger. But mostly the younger and like generations don't care anymore. It's like, this is the new it thing.
Oh, there you go. See, look at that.
She said, so it's fine. The older generations really don't like what's going on. Most of them don't.
Well, that's probably the same in, cultures across the board.
Yeah, I know. She said they're just stuck in their old ways. She said there's those like me that just don't care. She said, I know Sam's mom. That's how Avery and Sam know each other.
Oh, tell us a story about the mamas. Go.
She said Sam's mother is so compassionate, and I remind Avery's mom of Sam's mother in that way. Very soft, very kind, open, very open, openly loving. And that's what I loved about her. She was the first person to not judge me because of my decisions. She was like my first real friend.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, she accepted me for who I was. And even though people judged her for being my friend, she didn't care. She stuck up for me. Yeah. She said, so I'm thankful for her for that friendship. I really needed it. I was so happy when she got married, met the father. The father didn't like me. Sam's father doesn't like me either. So she's like, we're on the same team. He's very old fashioned. So of course he's not going to like me. And of course he's not going to like me. She points at me, her as well. So, of course not. But that's Avery and Sam would always hang out with each other, but Avery was a lot older, but they still had a lot of fun together regardless. She supposedly made it easier on me, kind of like dropping the kids off with them.
Exactly. You boys go play outside. Let the mamas talk.
She said, I always thought about having a second baby, especially when Sam's mother had a second child. But I was like, I'm an old lady. It's just like a lasting thought, before you reach that age. Like, should I have one more?
What if? Nope. That most of us go, nope.
I quickly left. Over
it.
She said, I was just afraid I would regret it. That was it. It was mostly that. But I would have regretted. She said, no, I don't want to say I would have regret having one. I prefer now not to have had a second.
Yeah.
If I could even find someone to get me pregnant.
I know, because she's like, because none of these Sarsahr men are good enough for me.
She says, exactly. She's making a joke, like, I might just go call up the father again just to be like, hey, can I have your sperm?
She is progressive.
I don't need you. I just need your sperm.
Right. Just a donor. Oh, that's so funny. All right. Well, I'm going to wrap up this interview. I love this. I love this so much. I've been wanting to do it for a while, but I know that sometimes things just happen when they're meant to. So this must have been one of those things. So thank you. And also thank you for being patient with Heather and I not having our shit together about calling you.
She says, thank you for having me. And don't mention, like, she doesn't mind that. She says, my schedule's pretty open.
Well, did you know before? Because I kind of, I was rehearsing.
She's saying Avery mentioned it. My son mentioned it. That it was an idea popping in your head and to be prepared for when it happens. I didn't know it was going to happen so soon, but it's fine.
By the way, guess what you're doing today. Well, thank you for being flexible like that and accommodating us.
Of course, she'd love to do it again if anyone has like follow-up questions or anything. So.
Oh, okay. I would love to have you come back. Okay. So I don't know when I'll see you again, but hopefully soon, Kay.
Okay. She says, okay, sounds good.
Okay, Mama Wildflower, I love you.
I love you too. Take care.
Okay.
Oh, and Avery wants to tell you he loves you too. All this gooey, sexy stuff. He's like, no, you tell her exactly what I'm saying.
I know, if you have to write it down, go ahead.
Oh my God. Sorry. It's just uncomfortable.
I know, he just doesn't care. He will just say it to you. I know you don't share it, but even I get embarrassed of the things that he says to her, and she tells, I'm like, oh my gosh.
I don't know why it's weird with you. Anyone else, I can just channel it, and like keep a straight face about it. But I don't know what it is about. Maybe it's just because it's Kari. I don't know.
Maybe he feels like brotherly to you, and that's gross.
Yeah. He's like, that's it. That's definitely
it. Ew.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, I'll just write it down and then.
You could tell me later. Oh, you dirty, naughty boy. Thank you. Whatever it is, I can't wait.
And he winked at you. So. God.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, H. And thank you, Space Family. Spank my space baby for me.
Well, they're gone.
Okay.
So. That's to talk about. Oh, that's what's to talk about. I bumped up the start date of my classes. So anybody who wants to learn to channel this summer, because I only do it during the summer, and I only offer it up to a certain number of people because I like to keep it small so that I can make sure that I can teach each individual person the best way I can. Because the bigger the class, the less one-on-one time I get to have. But if you're interested in learning to channel, which everyone can learn to do this, I was somebody who didn't know what channeling even was or that I could do it until about 2014. And I've been working my ass off ever since. So here I am today with it. I don't think channeling is something that can be mastered. It's something that changes and ebbs and flows as you ebb and flow and grow throughout your life. Mm-hmm. And that makes sense because the body, you are the conduit, you're the filter. And so whenever that filter is going through a change or
You change
whatever,
and grow. Yep.
yeah, the channeling will change and grow with you. So anyway, that's just a way of, that's an old way of thinking, I think. Well, old in my tribe. That's how my tribe used to think of channeling. So a lot of my channeling classes are built around my tribe's teachings,
Mm-hmm.
and also the teachings I got directly from spirit, because I didn't have a teacher teaching me. I relied mostly on spirit to help me, guide me through it. So I'm hoping enough people sign up, because I am a substitute teacher. So during the summer, I don't get paid at all for anything. And so I really rely on those classes to help pay my bills through the summer.
All right. So sign up for Sissy's class.
Yeah.
Get some one-on-one with her. She's so good. She'll help you find your way. And it really is like a personal thing. So that one-on-one will help. Because even though I'm not going to channel the way you channel, but to be in a group of 30 people or whatever, I'm not going to get that personal stuff at all. But that smaller group, I can at least pick your brain a little bit and try to help myself figure out in which ways I'm supposed to.
Yeah, you're going to be learning in a classroom setting. It's all entirely online, by the way. You don't have to like be where I'm at. You can be across the fucking world and take part. We do live classes through Learning Live. And then I have you join a private Facebook group where I post up all of the exercises you're going to do that day or that week. And we do, we challenge each other to channel and step out of our shell a little bit, because channeling really is about getting over your own self and getting to the job of channeling.
Being trained right now.
So, but there's different variations to the classes, because I know everybody can't afford the full 8-week course, which costs $230. That seems like a lot, but it's 8 weeks, and we cover the very beginning of channeling, which is like learning what the chakras are and clairs, and then we dive into how to tap into your intuition, how to make it stronger, how to know if you're even channeling or if it's just your ego. And then we dive into astral projection, trance channeling, remote viewing, things like that. So we go through all 4 levels, at least what I call the 4 levels. And then with that class comes a pendulum, a tarot deck, and a class notebook. And the price includes the shipping and the tax. So it's $230, but it includes all of that. And you don't have to pay extra for like tax or anything or the shipping. It's all covered. But if you're just interested in taking, like, say you just want to learn astral projection, you don't want to do all that extra stuff, you can do a la carte, as I say.
That's what Heather likes to order off of.
Yes. So
if you get the bargain, I'm going to get the combo bargain, and you're going to order off the a la carte menu.
Right. So you can pick and choose which classes you want to take, and it's like $65 if you just choose one. So I make it cheap for those that, maybe just want one class or a little. I get it.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good idea.
Yeah. So
I got really nothing going on, but I'll just go ahead and do a little self-promote too. Don't forget I'm an energy healer, and I'm really awesome. In fact, if you've had an energy healing session from me and you're watching this, take some time to go write me a review in my group. Silver Lining Energy Healing.
Yeah. Reviews go a long way.
People don't even realize that's what I do, but I will blow you the fuck up and electrify you. And I'm not even really saying me, because I don't want to take that power from you, but that's what seems to happen. I get really good
I know, it always feels like a surge of electricity running through my spine, like constant. It's great. Fun stuff.
So that's what I got. That's what I'm throwing at you for now.
So hold on.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. The classes start in June 6th. So make sure you guys sign up in time. So.
And you can book me right away.
Yeah, and you can book her right away.
And you too, are you doing readings right now?
Yes, I'm doing readings.
Okay.
I do offer readings.
All right.
Yep, I got to pay the bills.
Pay the bills. All right, Sissy Pants, should we wrap this up?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. I love you. I love you so much.
I
just want to brag just for like 10 seconds. Because I'm going through some shit right now. And my sissy has so been there for me. Thank you. Thank you for being my best friend and my sister, and holding my hand and letting me cry on you and yell at you. And, yes. And I'm not really yelling at her. I'm just so emotional that my voice gets loud, even in text.
All caps.
Right. So thank you for being so sweet and letting me, blast my blue at you.
Yeah, blasted blue. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
With your throat chakra. Blast your blue.
Yep. All
I
right,
should do
sis.
more of that.
Blast that blue, babe. Okay, I love you. I'm going to
I love you
talk to
too.
you later, Kay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.